Hello, everybody. Gbenga Olatunji here. Induction training and performance evaluation of directors. This is the topic we'll be looking at today. The induction, training, and performance evaluation of the directors. We are still looking at the board of directors under corporate governance. So we'll be looking at the induction and training of the directors. We'll be looking at the new director's induction, the training and professional development for the directors, performance evaluations, and assessment of their performances. So these are the things we are going to cover today. We would like you to subscribe to this channel as we build together the community. Like us, click subscription button, click notification button so that you can continue to receive new release from us anytime we do so, which we definitely promise. And others around you will be notified too because you've joined the community. So these are the list of the items we must cover today, and after we are through, we'll be going for the need for board committees. The need for board committees. So we will go into the topic, the induction of the directors, right away. So when we talk about the induction of directors, what comes to mind? What do we mean? Do they really need to be inducted coming from the background of huge knowledge and experience exposure that they are coming from? But the truth of the matter is, induction is about familiarity. Familiarity and familiarization with the environment that we find ourselves and the like. So everybody needs to be inducted, and that is the reason directors must be inducted too. So it's a formal way of introducing them to the community as an organization, training especially for those that find themselves to be having the directorship experience first hand, and it's the first that they will be directors. So it's good that we do not leave any stone unturned and help to maximize their potential by ensuring they are well inducted so that they will know how the organization operates, how we have organized ourselves in the organization, who are the managers, who are the key managers, who are the other executives. So these and many more are what must be covered when we are talking about induction and the training of the directors. And it's good that we equally know or reiterate it that we're talking about corporate governance here, and it's best practices to do so, to induct and train the directors. It is best practices so that they will key into the strategic plan of the organization, know and familiar with the senior managers and our business environment. Don't forget, they may be coming from another climate, different business environment and the like, so that they will be familiar with how things are done in this market and the like. Then they will know their fiduciary duties, especially people coming as directors for the first time and having the first hand experience and the responsibility and expectation of the organization for them. So these are the key things that we must talk about, and these are the purposes of being inducted to ensure their development and they have the understanding of the company. It is key, it is critical, it is important that they know who the organization really is. It is key that they know who are we. Also to get to know the people, the key staff, and also to build relationship with them. Don't forget they must work with them So they build relationship, and they cannot just build relationship if they just come and go to the board meeting. They must know the people. So an induction program might include several areas like visits to important branches, sites, locations where the company carries out its operations, demonstration of company's products, be familiar with what we are selling, demonstration of company's products, meeting the sales managers, sales reps, and the like, meeting senior managers and staff, possibly also meeting the professional advisors of the organization, like they are going to work with the company secretary. They need to know them. Possibly meeting with major shareholders. These are key areas, so that when they are making decisions, they know the personality behind everything too, and their disposition to certain things. Is then their directorship will work, and the organization will benefit effectively from their activity. So because we're talking about corporate governance here, it's good that we ensure and formalize this experience. So a new director should be given information about the matters that are reserved for the board, the matters that are peculiar for board decision. So we must introduce them to it. The guiding rules, especially when it comes to share dealing by directors, what is the law saying, the insider dealing and the like, they must know, especially if they are coming for the first time as director into our organization. We need to guide them. We need to give them copies of minutes of meeting, especially recent board meetings. They should be given so that they can familiar with the trend and the history of the organization. It's good that they know the history of the organization. A schedule of dates for the future meetings so that they will know when the organization is expecting them to be around, especially for the non-executives. Detail of committees of the board, because best practices is that we should have some committees, and we are going to go into it in the next topic. So who form the members of the board committees, and what is the board committees what are the board committees that we have, what are their responsibilities. So a new inductee should know this and be familiar with all these things in the organization. Doesn't really matter that the directors are coming with a lot of background experience. They still need refresher courses to update their skills and exposure and experience. So as a matter of best practices, they need to be sent to refresher courses. And this should be made mandatory. Best practice, it is mandatory, like in Nigeria. You must send. In UK, you must send the directors for refresher courses so that they will be able to be at the peak and also understand the trend and be updated. So the function are the latest by the latest information are at the latest peak. So also their performances, having sent them, having inducted them and the like, we should expect performance ordinarily. So their performance should be evaluated. So now we are talking about performance evaluation. It should therefore be appropriate to carry out a regular review to assess how well the board has performed, an individual member of the board. So we are talking about board collectively, and we are talking about the board members' performance. So on the corporate level and on the individual membership, performance must be evaluated. And in many countries, corporate governance code actually include a requirement that the performance of the board and its individual directors should be reviewed regularly. Now depend on the country, but nevertheless, it must be reviewed regularly. Somebody may ask, so what is the purpose of reviewing the performance of the directors or of the board of directors? We need to ensure that they are fulfilling, the board is fulfilling its role, and the directors are fulfilling their roles and carrying out their responsibilities effectively. Also, that the board committees are also fulfilling their roles effectively. Individual directors are contributing effectively to the work of the board and its committee, especially the membership of committees that they belong to. Also, the collective skill, the totality of everybody put together and their experience of the board members is still that relevant, appropriate for the need or the nearest future need of the company. If not, we need to bridge the gap. It is critical to point this out, especially when performance evaluation is being conducted. It is good and best practices that the person being reviewed should know the criteria so that they can work towards it, so that there will be objectivity in performance review and evaluation. So it's not good that we just say we've evaluated them. On what basis? So criteria for performance evaluation, the KPIs, key performance indicators, must be known. The director and the board is expected to state the criteria. The board is expected to state the criteria that will be used, the measurements in which their performance will be measured against. They need to know, the members need to know the KPIs as well as the targets to be met, and the board committees, the chairman and the individual committee members, all of them should know. And you know what? The responsibility for evaluation lies at the shoulder of the chairman. The chairman should see to evaluation, and that evaluation of the board and its members, that is directors, whether independent director, non-executive director, executive director, all these three categories of directors should be evaluated, and it's the sole responsibility of the board chairman. Though these assignments, for not to be biased and the like, could be contracted out, given to external consultants, but the chairman of the board must see to it that it takes place. This is one of the critical role of the board chairman, and we've dealt with the role of the board chairman and it's our responsibility. So you may need to look up on what's on our video that we've done in the recent past. So whether the external consultants are employed and deployed for the purpose of performance evaluation, or we internalize it and carry it out. Nevertheless, there are some critical questions that must be answered when we are talking about performance evaluation of the board as a whole. So we need to be looking and be asking ourselves, how well has the board performed against specific objectives or performance targets that we've set for ourselves? How well has the board as a whole performed? Also, individualize it. How well has the individual member performed? What has been the contribution of the board to the development of strategy? Don't forget that this is key role of the board. So the development of strategy, and at the heart of the strategy is competition and maximization of resources. So how well has the board contributed to strategy and strategic development? What has been the contribution of the board to ensuring effective risk management? Don't forget, if an organization will not manage its risk very well, it's going to go down the drain. It's not good that an organization should go down the drain, because the expectation of forming an organization and for founding an organization is for perpetuity in the first place. But the risk can militate against this. So, as the apex authority within an organization, this is one of the critical assignments of the board, and we should judge ourselves as a board member. What are our contributions to ensuring risk management? Is the composition of the board and its committee suitable, especially suitable for now, with the trend in our markets, the information technology going haywire, and the like? Is our composition still the best that we could have to be effective? Can we say we still have balance of skill, experience, knowledge? Is the board composition and the committee, is this still suitable for now, for the need of the organization now? How well did the board respond to crisis in the recent past? Crisis management. How have we responded? So these are key performance indicators that we need to benchmark our performance against as a board of directors. Also, there should always be evaluation of the procedure of the board and its committee. So now, as we are talking of the board and we are talking about the members, we must equally be looking at process evaluation. That is how we had done things. You see, is this the best process we could have adopted? So we must evaluate our procedures, we must evaluate our processes. Don't forget, processes are key when we are talking about an organization. An effective organization dwells and resides on process, smart process, to ensure that they use effective working practices. So it is key that we evaluate our processes too. As we look at ourselves, we must look at our processes too as an organization. This should include the length and frequency of the board meetings, whether important issues were given full amount of time and attention, consideration that such an issue requires. So our process, our timing, our scheduling, we must evaluate our performance based on all these mechanisms. Let us talk about this aspect of board that people usually criticize: the non-executive, the need to have non-executive directors. So we need to evaluate the performance of NEDs too, that is non-executive directors. We need to evaluate their performance, their responsibility and delivery to the organization. And we need to be questioning, as the attendance of the NED in their meetings satisfactory? Was he or she properly prepared for the meeting? Or he or she always appear blank-minded to be filled? We ordinarily NED should be filling the gap, not the organization, not the other way around. So is he coming or is she coming as expected to the meeting? And what is the contribution? Does he show a willingness to spend time or eagerness to just rush out of the meeting? the effort to push the organization forward. How has the person, the non-executive, demonstrated this? What has been the quality and value of his contribution or her contribution to this organization? We need to ask those critical questions. What has he or she contributed to the development in the past, in the recent past, to strategy, to risk management, to process control, to advisory? How successfully have they brought their knowledge to bear and skill to the discussion and decision making of the board? Are they holding their skills? Are they lay back to contribute? Or they do as a need is are expected to do? That is, contribute without biases. How has he or she refreshed his knowledge or her knowledge and skill during the year of evaluation? Maybe for any reason we send him or her to a refresher course, but the person said does not have time, therefore didn't attend the meeting. The person didn't attend the training. So we need to measure their performances, even as to the time they are given to the organization and its work and their duties and responsibilities. How effective are they in relating to others? Their engagement, their relationship. How effective are they in communicating with others? So these and many more must be looked at. So next time we meet, we'll be discussing the need for the board committees. The need for the board committees. Gbenga Olatunji will be signing off from GJAMES Associates. We are value to life. We are value to your businesses.